Our group will introduce about Kaku's vision for space travel, a second look. According to Kaku, space travel is expected to be possible in 2100. Our poster contains what space technology has changed over the past decade with its potential for future development and the interaction between fourth industrial revolution and the space industry. One of the technologies is terrestrial planet finder. It will further increase the possibility of finding planets where life can live. Another technology is laser interferometer space antenna called LISA. LISA can observe the origin of the universe further back in time and measure gravitational waves more accurately than it is today using 3 spacecraft arranged in an equilateral triangle of 2.5 million sites. Mars landing is also currently the most important issue. When President Obama canceled the moon program in 2010, he suggested going to Mars instead of the moon. While the moon provides an unstable environment for humans due to its weightlessness and micrometeorites, Mars resembles the Earth. People live on as much as it can possess any life form among the planets. Experts are also working on a plan to terraform Mars. The first way is to inject methane gases or other greenhouse gases into the methane atmosphere. Another way is to detonate a nuclear bomb directly from Mars's ice cap. These processes will make Mars an Earth-like environment. Mr. Kaku also predicts that nanotechnology can even make possible the space elevator by the end of this century if they can create a pure carbon nanotube cable 50,000 miles long. In other ways, people can go to space through a technological starship. This spacecraft operates on the basis of the largest energy source in the universe called antimatter. While antimatter has a great deal of energy, it is also expected to cost a lot, so it is predicted to take until the end of the century to lower the cost.
There have been many changes and developments in the space industry over the past 10 years. There are two typical changes. To begin with, scientists expected 10 years ago that asteroid Apophis, which is close to the Earth, would collide with Earth. However, it is now proven that there is no danger of collision. Secondly, in the past, people researched and explored the universe with curiosity, but today they are studying space as a second home. This is because many researchers predict that the environmental pollution problem of the Earth will become more serious as the day goes by, and that there will be a day when life will not be able to live on Earth soon. Not only this, but there have been many changes in the last 10 years, and there is no doubt that there will be more changes in the future.
Although antimatter is the most efficient fuel for rockets, looking at it from the perspectives of financial and natural resources, it is not the most practical way of fueling a rocket. It is extremely expensive to use antimatter as a main source of fuel. In addition, it is difficult to produce antimatter due to lack of enough technology for creating the antimatter molecules.
People use starships to go into the space. There are some representative propulsion system to launch the starship: solar sail, nuclear rocket, ramjet fusion, and nanoship. Solar sail are a method of spacecraft propulsion using radiation pressure exerted by sunlight on large meters. Nuclear propulsion includes a wide variety of propulsion methods that use some form of nuclear reaction. Ramjet fusion uses enormous electromagnetic fields.
Space elevators also have financial difficulties that are reflected by the financial perspective. These days, it requires $1,000 to put a pound of anything into orbit around the planet Earth in outer space. As shown in the picture above, the first space flight cost nearly $100,000. However, the most recent flight cost less than the $1,000. To follow this decreasing trend, the space elevator's cost is expected to be only a few dollars, and this is showing that people will be able to travel into space at the lowest possible price in the far future.
People have the produced of Starship, which must be enormous. The essential function of Starship may be miniaturized by nanotechnology. Kaku analyzed the nanoship as a technology that would be possible in the far future. However, and as nanotechnology has been developing fast, it is likely to be available in the near future. Nanoship would be no larger than thimble or even smaller than the molecule. The fourth industrial revolution is growing based on the third industrial revolution, the digital revolution occurring since the middle of the last century. The fourth industrial revolution is a fusion of technology that blows the boundary of the physical, digital, and biological worlds. It shows the phenomenal growth speed when compared with the previous industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution is the key to the development of the space industry, and it can realize the technologies of the movie such as nanoship, space elevator, and the prop of the exoplanet. The satellite industry and the space elevator would benefit from the fourth industrial revolution. The satellite industry should offer ubiquitous and increasingly fast connectivity to people worldwide through the fourth industrial revolution. The space elevator is suggested as a transportation method of a planet to space. The main component would be the lightweight carbon nanotube cable. Nanotubes have the greatest tensile strength of any materials, and they are much stronger than steel.
Currently, there are some new discoveries or evolved ideas and technologies when it comes to space travel. Our group would like to recommend Professor Kaku to update on the following information if he writes a new edition of his book. First recommendation is the general updates on the asteroid Apophis and solar sail. When Kaku first wrote his book, there was a high chance of Apophis colliding into the Earth. However, it is now proven that there is no danger of the asteroid Apophis colliding into the Earth and causing great damage. In addition, the launch of solar sail was planning on being continued without the knowledge of light as a wavelength. However, it is now discovered and proven that light is a wavelength and a flow of particles as well. Next recommendation is about the antimatter energy source. When Kaku first wrote his book, antimatter was known as the most effective source of energy for spaceships, but nothing could be done due to lack of technology and its extremely expensive cost. However, on March 31st, 2021, CERN was able to manipulate antimatter using a laser light for the first time. This laser cooling technique will be able to provide answers to many unexplained mysteries and give new perspectives in antimatter research and provide ways for producing antimatter molecules with lower cost.
So here's the conclusion of our presentation. As explained above, scientists have found that asteroid Apophis has no possibility of collision in 2036. Scientists also have found that light has no mass, but instead has momentums to apply pressure. This discovery will help technicians and scientists to further develop and utilize the solar sail, which will help for the space exploration in the future. Then the fourth industrial revolution will help making new materials like nanotubes available to develop new technologies such as space elevator. Then what we recommended throughout this presentation to Professor Kaku was not only to update the information about the asteroid Apophis, then the light related to solar sail, but also a new technology, new discovery made by some scientists called laser cooling, a repeating process of absorbing and emitting photons to cool atoms to a lower temperature. We expect this discovery of this technology will further develop antimatter researches in the future. Carl Sagan, one of the most infamous astronomers in the century, once said that it is far better to grasp the universe as it really is than to persist in delusion, however satisfying and reassuring. As the fourth industrial revolution evolves, so does the technology and the science of exploring the space. And as technology and science of this era evolves, it is time to prove ourselves that his quote is true. Thank you for listening to our presentation.